Welcome back, everyone, to Intuitive Conversations with Tamara and Chantel. I'm Chantel Neufeld.
I'm Tamara Franz.
And today we are going to talk about the movie Incredibles.
Right. This is the second in our series of movie discussions focusing on or looking at movies through the lens of empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
So, The Incredibles.
Oh, I love the mom on the movie. That's my favorite character. Do you have a favorite character?
You need to be more flexible. My favorite character is Edna Mode, of course.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. I would be here for Halloween.
But honestly, the first time I saw that movie, I was enthralled because I tend to watch movies metaphorically anyway. I'm always looking for the deeper meanings. And for me, that was such a movie about the disempowerment of being unable to give full expression to who we are. And the fact that we all have superpowers or dimensions to ourselves that from a very young age we've been conditioned out of believing in and knowing. And just the strong pull of convention to not stand out, to not be exceptional, to fit in, fade into the crowd, all that kind of stuff.
And it's like so vilified too to have any kind of magic in your life or...
Yeah. I mean, what is the thing that you say when somebody is trying a venture or, a teenager wants to be an influencer on YouTube? Oh, they think they're so good. They're getting above themselves. Like, what is that?
Why is that so bad? It should be encouraged.
Yeah. There's just this collective wanting to pull someone down as soon as they are exhibiting any behavior that is just... and we all want to think we're nonconformist. We all want to think, oh, I'm not in the matrix. I'm out there being authentic and doing my thing. But it's such a human thing to want to pull people back down when they are starting to rise, and show their exceptionality.
I also think that in my life, whenever I have judged myself for a certain thing, that's when my judgment comes out for other people. Not even that I would verbalize it for other people, but just in my head, right? If I judged myself for something, I would, And so the more I can love myself, allow myself to shine, the more I allow others to shine too.
And the thing is, when you allow yourself to shine, it's so permission giving to everyone else who's been holding back, right? The
whole idea of lack is that there's not enough or we're not enough. And I think that it's this almost belief that everybody is kind of under this false assumption of that it's dangerous to, allow yourself to shine or, there's some level of we can't all win, right? There's some level of if you are there, that makes me down here. There's not a whole lot of all of us rising or all of us lifting each other or the whole spirit of cooperation versus the spirit of fighting.
But there can't be that in a... there are two types of
competition.
Society.
That's the word I was looking for. Sorry.
In a dominator society, it is a pyramid. And so, yes, if you're clambering up and getting ahead of somebody or they're perceiving... Don't take
my spot.
Yeah. We don't live in a partnership society. These are words that come from Rihanna Eisler, who wrote the book, The Chalice and the Blade, which was, for me, a life-changing paradigm book, which basically makes the argument because, there's this collective belief that, oh, humans have always been competitive and there's always been a pecking order and there's always been dominance. And she says, no, the archaeological record clearly shows that we've had partnership societies in the past and we can have that again in the future. So once you start looking, once you start looking through that dominator lens, you really see how the mechanisms work to keep as many people as possible down in that lower echelon.
I feel in order to have that kind of, ideal utopian society, we have to encourage our kids and everyone to live up to their strengths, to, because we all have different strengths. We all have different lenses in which we see the world, and to encourage that uniqueness in school and just everywhere, and to see someone else shining in their own way. No one's going to shine the way you shine. No one's going to shine the way I shine. Right. And so just, it's not competitive. It's
Yeah.
I don't know, it's helpful, like, to see everyone as like a whole body, all of the different people as like different parts of the body, like you all can work together in harmony.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if we had a system that was built around recognizing every child's superpower and helping them learn how to bring that out as they go through, right? And often a child's superpower will show, it will show up through their misbehaviors, right? Like Dash in the movie, right? In class, he's being mischievous, but zipping around and nobody can see him, right? So he's got a strength he's not allowed to show, and it's killing him. I was really struck, actually, that in the Incredibles, it's especially the males that are suffering. Everybody's suffering, but I mean, the mom and the sister, can't remember her name, they've adjusted better. I mean,
I just remember the girl with the bangs, like literally hiding half of her face.
I shouldn't say they've adjusted better because it's harming them too. But it's just like, it's tragic to me, that scene where Mr. Incredible is working in the insurance office, and he's a rescuer. You know, he's a do-gooder. He's like he's a superhero of society. He's there to build a better world, and there he is, you know, being constrained, and he's supposed to bilk people out of their, you know, their entitled insurance. And he's sitting there like he can, you know, the pencil's breaking in his hands, and it just made me think about, like, yeah, this society we live in, how it creates such inner rage.
Yeah, it goes against what we would otherwise naturally do, to be a cooperative society and help out our neighbor. And
well, and I think people intuitively know where their superpowers lie, right? They know what brings them joy, what brings them to life, and to not be able to do it, like, it's just killing. And I think there's so much rage because of that, and depression. It's rage more with the men, and you see that in the movie. And then with the women, like the sister, Violet, I think is her name.
Yes.
Yeah. She can barely use her superpower in the beginning because she's been so conditioned out of any exceptionality. There's that line in the movie, they keep celebrating new ways to be mediocre, but if anyone is truly exceptional or whatever, you know. And
for someone who hasn't seen the movie, we should talk about each of the main characters and what their superpower is.
Right, yeah. Okay, so The Incredibles, it's hard for me to believe any of you haven't seen it.
We forgive you.
Go watch it right now.
We forgive you.
Yeah, but it's a family of superheroes that are living incognito because the superhero world has been forced into anonymity because of a few lawsuits that have happened through rescues that caused a bit of collateral damage, or people with, you know, were injured slightly or whatever, lawsuits against the government. And so nobody's allowed anymore to use their superpowers. And what a metaphor that is, right? So they're trying to fit in and be invisible in a society that doesn't want anyone to be exceptional. It doesn't want anyone to live in their true strengths, and the damage that it causes, even to their relationships, right? Because once Mr. Incredible gets the call for this secret mission, and he's just starved for the opportunity to use the gifts that he has.
He's like super strong, right? That's his superpower.
Yeah. And it causes a strain between him and his wife, Elastigirl.
Who can stretch. Yeah. She's always like go-go gadget arms, but like...
Yeah, her whole body is extremely flexible.
Yeah.
So she can, like...
What a metaphor for moms.
Oh, yeah. Bending over backwards.
Stretching themselves thin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can go on.
We could.
Yeah, and then Violet, she can create protective shields.
Like a force field.
Yeah, like a big bubble. And then the younger brother, Dash, is just super speedy. He's
a fast runner, so fast you can't even see him a lot of the time.
It's really funny, actually, that scene at the end where, you know, they allow him just a little bit to use his superpower at school, but they're like, he's racing, and they're like, okay, go back. And he's like, okay, am I fast enough? No, go forward. Just a little more.
Yeah. And then the baby, didn't the baby have a power at the end too?
Oh, just at the end, yeah.
because there's a baby in the movie. But yeah.
Yeah, but the cost and the effort that it takes to hide who you really are, I think that it comes across in the movie how energy sapping that is.
To be safe, to fit in, to have friends, to not get in trouble. Yeah, like I'm just thinking about in schools, like because I worked in schools for a long time, and you worked in the school system for a long time. How kids, like, they have so much creativity within them, and for their assignments could do so much with that, but yet they have to fit themselves into the box of, you know, what the teacher expects, what the book taught, you know, like all of those criteria.
And I mean, to be honest, there are teachers out there who do a great job of providing choice, which is, but you know,
teachers are also under a lot of constraints too.
Yeah, well, there are, I mean, it always comes down to what is required on a report card, right? And have to generate products so that I can get a mark and be able to justify it. And they feel tremendous pressure around that. Yeah, and so yes, instruments, all of our systems are instruments of conformity. And it takes real will to be able to sort of step outside and decide to go against the grain.
To know what you are.
Yeah.
Like my kid asked me the other day, like, why don't you go to school and you know, become like someone that people can have their insurance pay for the therapy. I'm just like, I don't want to be under their rules. I don't want to have to take classes that I'm not interested in. I don't want to have to pay for something that I already, you know, have studied my whole life in. Like, I don't want to have my credential taken away if I somehow go against their, you know, criteria in what I'm doing because of what, you know, I feel is right in the moment. Like, I just want the freedom.
Yeah.
But like, to be not taken seriously by a lot of people just because I don't have a piece of paper, that's tough sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and I, you know, as someone who has spent many years in the academic field, with a lot of years of post-secondary study, yeah, I mentally feel the constraints of, you know, skepticism toward, oh yeah, does that person have their credentials, or even if I should want, so I did, you know, the equivalent of a master's degree in guided imagery and music.
Yeah.
Right? But not being a music therapist, I was not part of
you weren't able to like use it as much as you.
I wasn't part of a credentialed body that would provide the insurance for me. So, and technically as a member of the Association of Music and Imagery, I was supposed to have insurance as a practitioner. But that would have meant going back
so much red tape. So much red tape just to use the gifts that you were already given.
Yeah, and having already been through the long process of supervision and submitting supervised sessions and all of that, to go through that again just to get the counseling, you know, accreditation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all these hoops that you
like. I went through a lot of hoops too, and I have certificates up the wazoo, but nothing, you know, college, university recognized, government ordained or controlled.
Yeah, and I think there's two sides to it, because yes, of course you want people to be informed practitioners who have ethics and know what they're doing. Yeah, you want that, but at the same time there are people out there who are credentialed who don't know what they're doing. Who are not
ethical at all, or who don't have that gift. Like who they weren't born with that gift and just went into it for the money or some other reason.
Yeah.
I thought it would be an easy job.
Yeah. You know, and I come back again to, like, everyone is born with innate gifts and talents, right? And why can't we be a society that says, we notice this gift in your child, right? How can we support that? And especially once kids are 14, you know, you've pretty much learned, you should have a solid foundation of the basics. By the time you finish grade 8, why can we not create paths for people to
like double down on their favorite stuff?
Head in the direction of where you know your gifts lie.
Yeah, like I understand that, you know, they want to balance society and everything, but at the same time, like nobody's good at everything, but everybody's good at something.
Oh yeah, my son has Down syndrome, and I was joking actually, because we were at a wedding social on day after Halloween, and it was a costume party, right? And everybody was kind of hanging out in their costumes, and there were maybe 10 people dancing. So we arrived. There's like these few people dancing on the floor, and when Eli hits the dance floor, people come and dance.
Aww.
I said we should rent him out as the party guy. This is the guy who's going to get your party started.
Mm-hmm.
But he could make some good money. But yeah, that's his.
And like,
he's got a superpower.
He's nonverbal, right?
Yeah,
but yet he can.
He's nonverbal, but
he can communicate.
he's so full of life, and he's
and
just
love.
he's a social animal. Yeah, he gets people. He brings people out of themselves, and that's a superpower.
Yeah, and like gets them to reconnect to their inner child.
Yeah. But I think too, like we also have been, the experiment with the flies in the jar. Like there was okay, so I don't know where this goes back to. I'd have to look up, when and who did this, but keeping flies in a jar for a few days. I don't know if it was 3 days or maybe a week. I think 3 days maybe. These flies are buzzing around in the jar with the lid on. And after 3 days, when the lid was taken off, they didn't come out of the jar. Because their conditioning was, here's the ceiling. And we have so much conditioning about what our ceiling is as humans. So, for example, the telepathy tapes.
Such a good podcast.
Right? This idea that children with autism have access to information and ways of communicating that science
cannot,
as a materialist paradigm, can't explain. We're the flies in the jar who cannot find room for I actually got into a debate with somebody who wrote a pretty nasty review
about telepathy tapes.
He was a scientist. He was on faculty at McGill University, which is my alma mater. And I wrote to him saying, hey, I remember when McGill was a much more eclectic place where I read through an entire parapsychology section of the library. All right. So there was some opening for ideas outside of this materialist paradigm, but somehow scientists are so focused on objectivity, and they don't realize they themselves can't be objective when they're tied to a paradigm that doesn't allow for the kind of phenomenon that are...
Or nuance and things that can't be explained.
Yeah. So, if you believe in telepathy, well, your beliefs are influencing the results, and so they can't be trusted. But if you believe in a materialist paradigm, you're too objective, you can't be influencing the results. And so, there's a double standard, but we don't see it because of our conditioning. So, yeah, the movie The Incredibles, it just really spoke to me about human conditioning and what we allow and don't allow, and how that is crippling everyone. And then the syndrome character, takes advantage of that crippling to come in and, create his own nefarious system. Because, what is the line he says? When everybody's a super, when everybody is, when everyone's exceptional, then no one is, or something like that.
Wow.
So in his own
What a belief. What a limiting belief.
Yeah. But again, that speaks to the danger. Like we talked about it with Ella Enchanted, but the danger of obedience to a system that is crippling your ability to expand into the fullness of who you are when someone else isn't going to play by those rules. Right? If we're all being obedient to a system and then somebody else with more power does an end run around it.
Not mentioning any names in the political world. No, we wouldn't dare.
Yeah. I think we're at a point, I just see it so clearly where we refuse our own empowerment at our own peril as a species, basically. So it's time. I think these movies have come in a very timely way to tell us, it's time to step into a larger understanding of who we are.
It's time to stop suffering until everyone else isn't suffering. I feel like that is a limiting belief that as a society we've grown up with, that you must suffer until no one else is suffering.
That's the empath version.
I
there
know,
are people who have no problem letting others suffer.
Yes, I just feel like the people with kindness in their hearts, what more could they do for the world if they didn't feel like, you know, because everyone else doesn't have privilege, they can't use their privilege either. Like, like you can still use everything, like the cards that you've been dealt, you can use those cards for the betterment of all. There's like the fear, guilt, and shame, especially the guilt and shame for some people, to be like, oh, I'm part of this privileged group, so I now have to give up my resources and let go of everything I've been given, not use my talents, as the, you know, the parable goes, because, you know, there's fear or there's guilt and shame around it.
Be the good boy, be the good girl, and let the status quo keep going. Yeah.
And again, the time is there.
All right. It doesn't take long when we're talking about movies that are interesting. So, yeah, I'd love to hear anyone's comments and thoughts about The Incredibles or any other movie that has really, that touches on the theme of empowerment or things that we've talked about.
Yeah. And until next time, keep following your heart song.